Okay. Greetings, everyone. This is Payman Lorenzo, your host of the Leaders with Heart podcast. Today I have a special treat. My new good friend, Leighann from beautiful Nova Scotia, Canada. She has a tremendous mission. She's on a mission to double the number of women in senior management positions, living fully fulfilled lives and happy lives by tapping into their potential. She has an amazing motto, which is live loud with purpose, confidence, and joy. Leighann, my friend, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me this morning. I so appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. For people that don't know you, who is Leighann?
Thanks for asking. I am Leighann Joseph, the founder of Living Loud Coaching. You know, I've had the privilege of living, working, and playing around the world in the Middle East and Africa, and that was such a blessing for me. Like many, it is not always easy for me to know how to work my way through challenging times and difficult emotions. As I'm sure you've noticed, this can impact our motivation, our leadership style, and our happiness. My experience living abroad led me to be more compassionate, less judgmental, and helped me find a path to success through coaching. So I developed Living Loud Coaching so that I can have a positive impact in the lives and careers of other women.
Absolutely. All right, that's an amazing story. But before we get into the story, let's go. I'd like to first ask a couple of questions just to get to know, because what I'm most interested in is not to talk with a title, the corporate person, but the actual person. I'd like to have a conversation heart to heart. That's what I want to do. So first of all, let me ask you something. What makes you happy?
That's a great question. And what makes me happy is when I'm not wanting to be anywhere else, when I'm feeling content and safe and like I'm on the right path with where I am. That's what makes me happy. To me, happiness is when it's clicking for you. And that might not be 24 hours a day doing a jig, but it's definitely something to anchor into.
Beautiful. What makes you smile?
I smile a lot. I had braces when I was young, and my father insisted that in every picture I appear in again in life, my teeth had to be showing. So I'm a big smiler, and and I find it's a little bit of everything. I spent last weekend outside each day. It was such beautiful weather here in Nova Scotia. And finally, right? And as things are growing and as things are, springing to life, I just found myself with a smile on my face being outdoors and enjoying that sun and fresh air and a chance to kind of get myself moving a bit and participate in the outdoors.
Beautiful. A couple of comments on smiling. I'm sure you heard it. Smiling is the best medicine, and smiling is the best business card.
Yeah. I worked for years in the luxury hotel business, and you needed to have a smile on your face, to reassure people that they could approach you. You would be there to service them. It helps people feel more secure in having a conversation with you.
Absolutely. Now, what scares you?
What scares me? I think one of the things that came out of the pandemic for me is financial insecurity scares me. I like to have a plan. I like to work a budget, and I like to know that I'm making good choices. That's really what came out of it for me. That was the big one.
That's a good one. Okay, cool. Awesome. Now, let me ask you a couple of fun questions. When we grew up, especially in primary school, middle school, our parents, our teachers, our relatives always ask us, so Leighann, what do you want to become when you grow up? What was your answer back then?
I think my answer changed every couple of weeks. I really didn't know. There wasn't an area of school where I was particularly strong.
Mm.
But on every report card I had growing up, the phrase Leighann plays well with others was always included.
Mm.
And when I was 18, I stumbled into a job in a motel, and I realized I could get paid simply to be kind to people, simply to make their day, to make sure that they had the best holiday they were having. And that felt amazing to me,
I love
to
that.
be of service to people, to be there for them, to be part of their fun and their memories, and get paid. It seemed like a no-brainer.
I love that. Getting paid to be kind to people. Isn't that the perfect job ever?
That's a great job.
Where do I get a job like this? I would apply and I would even work for free almost. Cool, awesome. Now, how did you get on the path you're on now?
Well, I ended up working in human resources when I was working in hotels, and I loved it. I loved working in human resources, and I worked my way from the entry level positions of coordinator straight up to HR director. And as I learned more about the different career paths in human resources, coaching just made sense to me.
Mm.
It really, I just felt it in my bones. And when I was in Johannesburg in 2018, I had the chance to finally become certified as a coach, and I
Wow.
jumped on it. Jumped on it. I'm really fortunate to be clear on what I want to do. It is coaching. I don't know what the backup plan is. I currently don't have one. It's all about coaching to me.
What is the number one thing that attracts you in when it comes to coaching?
What I think is really cool about coaching is the person you're working with is really doing all the work, and your job is to make sure it doesn't feel like heavy lifting as the coach. You're to make it easier for them. You're to ask powerful questions that help them search their heart, search their mind, and get clear on what it is they really want to do as they move forward.
Awesome. Tell me a little bit more about your business.
Living Loud coaching. So, living loud with purpose, confidence, and joy. That's all I want in life. I want to feel like my best, confident self. I want to know the direction. And I think many people want that. And, and I'm sure you'll agree, it's not easy. Uh, Life has its twists and turns, and it can be a struggle. So, what I have found is when I'm struggling and when life isn't going the way I want it to be, if I anchor into emotional intelligence and work with my coach, because I believe coaches should have coaches,
Absolutely.
uh, when I work with my coach, it gives me a place to start. And that's what I've done with my Live Loud coaching program. It's a 3-month program focused on elevating your emotional intelligence for women to get promoted, love who they are, and geared up for their next adventure.
Awesome. And is your program a one-on-one? Is it a group setting, or is it more like they have videos they can watch and you have a once a week call and they can come and ask the question?
Thanks for asking. It's a one-on-one coaching program for women who are really kind of in that middle management and burning the candle at both ends and want to live differently. And one-on-one bi-weekly coaching.
Awesome. Tell us about the most an example of the most remarkable example of transformation you've had from one of your clients going through your program. Of course, you don't have to
Mm,
divulge any specifics,
right.
but just generally speaking, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things I really love when working with someone, I'm thinking of someone in particular right now, is
Mhm.
becoming clear on their why, becoming
Mm.
clear on what is the reason I'm doing this? Why am I making the sacrifices? Why am I making the tough decisions? And when you see that click for someone, um, and you see them commit to, guarding that vision, Because we have to make sure we're only taking in what takes us closer to our vision, and we're saying no, thank you, to what takes us further away. So when you see people start to go, you know what? I'm taking a red pen through my schedule because I commit to way too many meetings that doesn't serve my purpose. I love
Absolutely.
that because
Mhm.
that's a huge one for women.
Oh, absolutely. Especially, meetings that just go on and nothing gets done. And at the end of the meeting, okay, let's schedule the next meeting we're gonna talk about. I mean, come on. I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyone that's been in the corporate world knows what it's about. It's not fun. Cool. Um, the theme of my podcast is Leader with a Heart. That is people that are
Mhm.
building businesses with a heart, with an impact, and giving back and making impact. What cause would you say you're most passionate about, and why?
I would say it's gender equality. I would just say it's equality.
Mhm.
Um, I moved back to Canada in 2019, and I think I had rose colored glasses on about how well we do with equality. And, it's been a particularly trying week, a trying couple of weeks between the Indigenous children that were found, the
Mm,
Muslim family that was killed in Ontario.
so sad.
And for me, I want to figure out how to be a leader that promotes that equality, that promotes that diversity, and holds myself and others accountable to it.
That's a beautiful vision. And I guess as we're talking earlier, before going live, if more and more people, one of the best ways to learn about the world, not only about the world, but learning about yourself, is to travel. And if more and
Mm,
more people can travel, especially these people, so they can actually understand what these people are going through on a day-to-day basis, then they would feel much more grateful for what we have in Canada or wherever they're from, and also, but also appreciate it more because we tend to take for granted things we have
mhm.
here. But as soon as you leave here to go to another country, then you say, "Oops, it's not even available anymore." And then what?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, yeah. I think travel, for me, I always say travel makes foreign places familiar and foreign people
Absolutely.
friends.
Absolutely.
And suddenly you see people differently when you become friends. And it's been my experience living in every country, regardless of the different culture, the social economic background, the education. I have always made friends because we are so much more alike than we are different.
Totally. And what I also noticed after living in 10 countries over 4 continents is that no matter where you go, people are still people. They still have the same aspirations, dreams, wishes,
Mhm.
and whatever. They all want to be happy, to be fulfilled, to be loved, to be safe, to provide for their family, to be respected. It doesn't matter if they're from Africa, Asia, South America, like even from the moon, they all have the same
Yeah,
they all have the same red blood. They still still human, the same feelings, the same fears, dreams, hopes that we all have. So
yeah,
we need to look
absolutely.
past beyond what we see just on the outside. Look, just like I like to say is I like to look under the hood to see what's in the heart of the person I'm talking to, not just on the outside.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you can miss so much by making those assumptions, and you're lesser for it.
And a lot of the tremendous assets and talents that people have may not be that visible on the first look. You need to really just like a diamond or an orange or an onion. You have to just peel it off layer by layer.
Yeah, yeah, I absolutely agree with that.
Awesome. Let me ask you now some fun questions. First of
Sure.
all, do you have a podcast yourself?
I don't, I go back and forth on whether or not a podcast. I don't know if I have enough to say,
Well, I can.
yet.
That's something that also I am quite passionate. I can tell you more after that, but you definitely need to because podcasting is the best way not only to connect, but also for business. To I will tell you after this call an example of a gentleman in Florida who built an 8-figure business with zero ad spent only through podcasting. I will share you his story.
Wow.
I want you to, as a gift, to thank you for your time. I will send you that podcast for you to listen. Nothing to sell, just pure giving back and helping because I want to see other enlighten entrepreneurs and leader with a heart to do more, because the more money they can make, the more impact they can have, the more they can help. And I
Yeah.
really, for me, it's all about the more I can make, the more I can be of service and helping others. So that's going to be, I will
Yeah.
tell you after. So getting back that podcast, imagine that you
Okay.
have your podcast very successful, and today you have the most special guest ever, which is yourself. What would be the first question that would come to your mind? And by the first question, I don't mean the question that you always wanted to ask yourself, but the first question that would spontaneously come to you directly from your gut feeling, or from your intuition, that comes right away. What would be that question, and why?
Ooh, yeah, that was a tough question. So what would be the first question I would ask myself? Um, I think it would be about, looking back on those times when life felt like it was too much.
Hmm.
What would be the key advice I'd go back and give myself? Um, what is the key things I want to make sure that I learn?
And what would that be? What would that be, that key lesson?
I think the key things that sometimes is hard to really learn is that it will be okay.
Mm.
When you're in it, it can really feel like it's not going to change, and it's a hard one to wrap your emotions around. That step by step, little by little, regardless of how long it takes, it can and will change.
That's one of my favorite questions to ask. And I'm noticing a recurring theme that more and more people are saying the same thing. Everything's going to be okay.
Mhm.
Well, let's hope so.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. Now, imagine now that you're blessed to have a time machine, and
Mm.
you're sitting face to face with your 18-year-old self. What would be the first tip that you would give to your 18-year-old self, knowing what you know now?
Ooh, well, I am going to tell you something about myself.
Mm.
All through my 20s, and I would tell my 18-year-old self who loved to color. At 18, I still loved to color.
Mm.
And I kept this a secret because I thought people would think I was just a silly little immature girl. And I would go back and tell my 18-year-old self that adult coloring books will make you a million.
It's never too late to get back to it, because that might be a dormant talent that just needs to be awakened. You know.
I'm going to stick with the coaching, but I'll keep it as a backup plan.
Yes. Cool. Now, another fun question. If you could imagine, you can have any one superpower for the
Mm,
rest of your life, which one would it be, and why?
mm.
And by superpower, it can be
Ooh, it could be anything.
uh,
Yeah.
telepathy, reading people's mind, flying, breathing underwater, being Superman, Super Wonder Woman,
Yeah.
anything, being able to see the future, the past, anything,
Yeah.
but only one.
Only one. Okay. You know what? I'm thinking of one of the X-Men movies, and there was this great character who by touching someone, she could alter their mood
Oh,
to
wow.
what she needed. I'd love to be able to have that magic wand where I can take the pain away, where I can help calm things in a different way, and give a person a reprieve. That would be the superpower I'd look for.
Amazing. You would be basically doing something similar to Jesus.
Definitely not on that scale.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. Wow. Um, you know, um, a couple of weeks ago, I had one of the most amazing, most inspirational guests on my podcast, a gentleman from Australia. He grew up in a fairly wealthy, family, but his problem was that he grew up with a narcissistic father. Was very successful, but each time he was trying to do something, was always put down by his father. Oh, you're not good enough. You can't compete. I was way better than you, your age, and so on and so forth. So that you know, he took, I mean, that, harmed him all his life. So it took him
Mm.
almost 50 years. He went through one divorce, two suicide attempts, one heart attack to finally say, screw it. From now on, I will do what I always want to do, follow my heart. And he set on to write a book, which was
Mhm.
about, and that is someone that has never written a book. So he set on a mission to write a book to inspire 1 billion children around the world to have self-confidence in themselves, because he wished he had someone or a book to give him a self-confidence while he was growing up. So
Wow.
basically what he did, he took the greatest setback of his life, which was a chronic lack of self-belief, into his
Mm.
greatest asset right now. Looking back at your life,
Mm.
what would be any similar setback that you had to overcome that is now your greatest asset or skill?
I think I've always found emotions hard,
Mhm.
and at times that can make you feel like you're going backwards. And understanding that um, there's ways to work through it, that there's tools that you can put in place, that you can connect your values to elevate yourself, has become the superpower I can pass on. I'm a work in
Mhm.
progress when it comes to myself, but I can connect the dots for people and help them see that they can take charge. I think that's my superpower.
That's a beautiful one. Hmm. Awesome. If there's one thing you would change in this world, what would it be? If you could.
Yeah, it would be the issues we're having around lack of diversity. I really think we're leaving some of our best players on the bench. It's
Mm.
that simple. By, in some countries, we're leaving women on the bench. In some countries, we're leaving our Black community on the bench. And we are missing out on a tremendous amount of talent.
Very well said. Yes, that's a very good cause as well. And yeah, especially you notice
Mhm.
that even more so when you start actually traveling to some of these countries. You know,
Mhm.
I had last week one of the most amazing ladies, had a tremendous story. She basically in India, in India, there's a lot of issues, especially around women. They don't have the same opportunities. And then while she was going to
Mhm.
university, she had a family tragedy. Her father passed away, and then she couldn't afford after that to continue her studies.
Mhm.
However, there was an angel in one of the staffs at the university that said, "Okay, don't worry about that. We'll take care of your tuition. You just focus," because she was
Wow.
such a bright student, and that little gesture that was very insignificant from the person completely had a life-changing effect on her, because that would have been the difference between a future life, a dark life of being destitute, not being able to do whatever, just on the street, versus one that is she now became the executive director of one of the biggest nonprofit organization in India that is helping the poorest of the poorest. I had her on my podcast
Wow.
just a few days ago. Highly recommend for you to listen to it, because she's an absolute angel. She's a beacon of hope. And sometimes, as I said to you earlier, not any single person can change the world, but if every one of us does a little bit, just a tiny little bit, that even for us seem
Mhm.
insignificant, but to the right person at the right time can mean the world and can literally change their life.
Yeah.
And that's my ultimate purpose, is even if I can inspire just one person, one entrepreneur to do good, and they go on to change someone's life, and that person goes on and pays it forward, and so on and so on, before you know it, going to snowball into an incredible movement worldwide. That's my ultimate
Yeah.
goal and dream. So
That's a beautiful goal.
thank you. And f- we could talk for hours, because you have a tremendous experience of living with all these places. But most importantly, I can feel, even though it's the first time we're talking, that you have a beautiful heart. You're a true leader. But we might do a follow-up in a few months, but for now we'll just keep it at that. So
Okay.
if what would what would be a parting tip you would give to someone right now that is looking to have more impact and looking for purpose in their lives, what would be? Do you have any tips for that person?
Yeah, yeah. Looking for, when you're looking for your purpose,
Mm,
I think you really want to look at what values do you want to show up with, and where do you need to do the work to make sure that you have the strength and the resiliency to consistently show up with those values. Because once you get clear on your values and how you want to show up, and you can start to get clear on your purpose.
beautiful, beautiful. And if someone wants to connect with you, what's the best way to do so?
You can find me on LinkedIn under Leighann Joseph, or you can visit my website at livingloudcoaching.com.
Beautiful. I'll put that in the show notes. Well, Leighann, it's been an absolute honor and pleasure talking to you. I salute you. You're a true leader with a heart, a true enlightened soul. I wish you a wonderful day and an even equally wonderful weekend. Stay safe. God bless. And we'll keep in touch. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Bye bye.